Mastering power, the 48 laws. Law 1. Never outshine the master. Nicolas Fouquet's downfall came from trying to appear more important than King Louis XIV, which led to a lifetime of imprisonment. Don't make the mistake of overshadowing those in power. Winning against your superiors will cost you more than it's worth. Law 2. Never put too much trust in friends. Learn how to use enemies. Basilius saved Emperor Michael III of Byzantium from death and was rewarded with wealth and influence. However, driven by greed, he betrayed and murdered Michael. People often act in self-interest. Friends can become too comfortable, while former enemies, once won over, can be more loyal and reliable. Keep trust at arm's length. Law 3. Conceal your intentions. The Marquis de Sévigné was too direct with his feelings towards a young countess, which caused her to lose all interest. Being mysterious and unpredictable is key. Don't reveal your true desires too soon, or you'll lose your advantage. Law 4. Always say less than necessary. Louis XIV's courtiers feared his unpredictability. When faced with difficult news, he would say only, "I shall see," leaving the room in silence. His minimal words were intimidating. Speaking too much can weaken your position. Let your actions do the talking instead. The less you speak, the more powerful and in control you seem. Silence keeps others guessing, allowing you to maintain the upper hand. Law 5. So much depends on reputation. Guard it with your life. In World War II, Erwin Rommel's cunning strategies earned him a reputation that intimidated his enemies before battle even began. Protect your reputation fiercely. It will speak for you when you're not there. Law 6. Court attention at all costs. Pablo Picasso knew that staying relevant was more important than creating conventionally beautiful art. He was willing to paint something shocking to keep from fading into obscurity. Even negative attention is better than being forgotten. Law 7. Get others to do the work for you. Thomas Edison was more of a businessman than a scientist, often using Nikola Tesla's inventions and taking the credit. Surround yourself with talent that can do what you cannot, and let them carry your work to success. Law 8. Make other people come to you. Use bait if necessary. Otto von Bismarck once said he waited for an entire herd of deer to gather, rather than shooting the first one to appear. Draw others into your plans by luring them in, and make them play by your rules. Law 9. Win through your actions, not through argument. An engineer argued with Mucianus about the best type of ship to build, despite being right. His open defiance led to his execution. Even if you're correct, it's wiser to quietly demonstrate your idea, rather than challenging authority directly. Law 10. Infection. Avoid the unhappy and unlucky Lola Montez, destroyed the king of Bavaria and his kingdom through her chaotic influence. Her destructive nature spread like a plague. Negative people can bring you down. Avoid them, or their misfortune will become yours. Law 11. Learn to keep people dependent on you. Otto von Bismarck was the mastermind behind the unification of Prussia, making himself indispensable to the king. No one else could achieve what he did, ensuring his position was secure. To avoid being replaced, make yourself irreplaceable. Be the only one who can deliver certain results. Law 12. Use selective honesty to disarm your victim. Count. Victor Lustig planned to double Al Capone's $50,000, but instead returned the full amount, surprising Capone with his honesty. Capone, trusting Lustig, rewarded him with $5,000. By being truthful when dishonesty is expected, you catch others off guard and win their trust. Law 13. Asking for help. Appeal to people's self-interest. In 433 BC, the Athenians were approached by the Corinthians and the Corcyraeans for an alliance. The Corinthians brought up an old debt, while the Corcyraeans offered a mutual benefit, a united navy against Sparta. The Athenians chose the Corcyraeans, seeing greater value in a shared interest. When seeking support, appeal to others' self-interest rather than loyalty or emotional ties. Law 14. Pose as a friend, work as a spy. Charles Maurice de Talleyrand-Périgord used casual conversation to draw out information from others, getting them to reveal their intentions and weaknesses without realizing it. By listening more than you speak, You can gather crucial insights without appearing threatening. Test people's honesty before you trust them. Law 15. Crush your enemy. Totally, when a priest asked the dying Spanish general Ramon Maria Narvaez if he forgave his enemies, he responded, "I have had them all shot." When negotiation fails and peace is no longer possible, the only path is total destruction. Leaving an enemy wounded gives them a chance to recover and come back stronger. Eliminate them completely. Law 16. Use absence to increase respect and honor. People tend to appreciate something more once it's gone. By deliberately withdrawing your presence, you give others the chance to realize your value. When you eventually return, you'll be greeted with greater admiration and respect. Sometimes distance makes the heart grow fonder. Law 17. Cultivate an air of unpredictability. When people can't predict your next move, they feel unsettled and unsure. Picasso, for example, left others confused by his actions, making it impossible for them to plan against him. By keeping people guessing, you maintain control and power in negotiations or conflicts. People fear what they cannot anticipate, so use this unpredictability to your advantage. Law 18. Isolation is dangerous. Cutting yourself off from others makes you vulnerable to manipulation and deceit. When you're alone, you lose perspective and can easily be led astray. Isolation weakens your defenses, so be cautious if someone encourages you to distance yourself from friends or family. Staying connected to the world is crucial for keeping your sense of reality intact. Law 19. Do not offend the wrong person. You never know who you're dealing with, and underestimating someone can have devastating consequences. Genghis Khan brutally avenged the insult of his messenger's murder, leading to the destruction of an empire. A small act of disrespect can spiral into a catastrophic situation. In today's world, even though offense seems everywhere, being mindful of who you insult is still a wise strategy. Law 20. Do not commit to anyone. Committing to one side can trap you in a position of weakness. Alcibiades, a Greek general, played all sides, Athenians, Spartans, and Persians, without binding himself to any of them. By not committing, he retained influence and freedom. When you stay uncommitted, you maintain power and flexibility, avoiding the limitations of allegiance. In Law 21, play a sucker to catch a sucker. Sometimes pretending to be less smart or capable than you actually are can be a strategic move. By playing the fool, you lower others' defenses, making them more likely to reveal their true intentions. It's a subtle power play. Those who appear less knowledgeable often end up outwitting the overly confident. Law 22. Surrender tactic. Transform weakness into power. If you're in a position of weakness, surrendering can sometimes be the smartest move. The Melians refused to surrender and were destroyed. But by giving in when the odds are stacked against you, you preserve yourself for a future battle. Surrender doesn't mean defeat. It can be a strategic retreat to win in the long run. In Law 23, concentrate your forces. The more scattered your resources and attention, the weaker you become. Like an empire that stretches too far, you risk collapse. Focus your energy and efforts on one task or front to ensure victory. Mastery comes from dedication, not division. Law 24. Play the perfect courtier. The art of navigating power structures requires finesse. A perfect courtier is someone who knows how to serve those in power while maintaining influence. He shines without overshadowing his master, speaks at the right moments, and wins people's trust. By positioning himself as likable and non-threatening, the courtier often wields more power than the ruler, all while staying out of the spotlight. Master this delicate balance, and you can thrive in any hierarchy. Law 25. Recreate yourself. Don't let others define who you are. Society, friends, and even family often have set expectations of who you should be. However, you hold the power to redefine yourself as often as you wish. Like Caesar, you can choose the role you play in life. You're the author of your own story, and you can rewrite it whenever you see fit. Law 26. Keep your hands clean. In positions of power, it's easy to let others do your dirty work. Like Cesar Borgia, who used Ramiro de Orco as a scapegoat, it's often better to have someone else take the blame for your actions. Protect your reputation by distancing yourself from any wrongdoing while projecting an image of fairness and righteousness. But be cautious. You don't want to be someone else's pawn or fall guy. In Law 27, play on people's need to believe. People crave meaning in a chaotic world, and many will latch on to beliefs, even without proof, just for comfort. This desire to believe is often exploited, whether by religious figures, brands, or movements. Christopher Hitchens warned against giving up your rationality for seductive but empty promises. Anyone claiming to have all the answers is likely manipulating you. Keep your mind open, but think for yourself. Law 28. Enter action with boldness. Boldness can be your most powerful weapon. Consider how Victor Lustig, a notorious con artist, successfully sold the Eiffel Tower twice. His confidence made his scams believable. People hesitate in the face of boldness, often losing before the fight even begins. Like a predator sensing fear in its prey, boldness forces others to retreat, whether in business, seduction, or power struggles. Acting decisively and fearlessly increases your chances of success. Law 29. Plan all the way to the end before diving into action. Think ahead and consider all possible outcomes. The gods of Mount Olympus, as myth would have it, could see the end of every human endeavor, laughing at those who couldn't. It's foolish to leap into things blindly, but at the same time, be adaptable. Sticking to a plan that no longer fits the situation is just as risky. Law 30. Make your accomplishments seem effortless. True mastery lies in making difficult tasks appear easy. Houdini astounded audiences by performing daring escapes with what seemed like minimal effort, though they were the result of meticulous preparation. If you boast about the hard work behind your success, it loses its magic. Instead, make your triumphs seem spontaneous, and you'll create an aura of natural brilliance. Law 31. Get others to play with the cards. Udil, even the Terrible, gave his people an illusion of choice. Either he would rule as czar, or they would face destruction from their enemies. By presenting false options, he manipulated them into begging him to return to power. People like to believe they have free will, but when you structure their choices, they'll unknowingly fall into your plan. Always offer options that lead to your desired outcome, no matter what they choose. Law 32. Play to people's fantasies. People want to believe in the impossible, from turning wood into gold to overnight success. Throughout history, figures like Il Brigadino used this fantasy to their advantage, promising the unattainable and receiving wealth in return. People are often drawn to things that seem too good to be true, even when their logic says otherwise. Use this to your benefit, but stay grounded in reality yourself. Law 33. Discover each man's thumbscrew. Cardinal Richelieu knew the secret to controlling others. Find their weaknesses. By exploiting these vulnerabilities, he worked his way to power, manipulating everyone around him. Understand what drives people and what they fear, and you can use that knowledge to influence them. But always protect your own weak spots, ensuring they can't be used against you. Law 34. Be royal in your own fashion. Act like a king. Christopher Columbus, despite his humble beginnings, commanded respect by elevating himself and associating with royalty. People saw him as legitimate because of how he presented himself. If you want others to treat you with respect, act like you deserve it. Never settle for less or undervalue yourself. Present yourself with confidence and authority, and the world will respond in kind. Law 35. Master the art of timing. Timing is everything. Joseph Fouché, a political survivor, knew when to switch sides to escape danger and stay alive. He didn't cling to loyalty when it was a risk. Knowing when to act, adapt, or even lay low can be the difference between success and failure. Move too quickly, and you're seen as a traitor. Too slowly, and you're just following others. Master the art of perfect timing. Law 36. Disdain things you cannot have. When King Henry VIII of England was denied a male heir by his wife, Catherine of Aragon, he turned his attention to Anne Boleyn. By ignoring what he couldn't have, he regained power over his desires. If something is unattainable, showing disdain for it robs it of its power over you. When you let go, you remove its ability to control or influence you. Law 37. Create compelling spectacles. Dr. Weislater healed his patients using nothing but the light of the moon. The spectacle of his practice, filled with mysticism and grandeur, made people believe in its power. Spectacles have a way of captivating the imagination, filling in gaps of logic with awe. If a display is grand enough, people are more likely to believe in it, even when it defies reason. When you create something larger than life, you draw people into your world of illusion. Law #38. Think as you like, but behave like others. Pausanias, a celebrated Greek warrior, failed to hide his superiority complex, which ultimately led to his downfall. Standing out too much, especially in a society where conformity rules, breeds resentment. Pausanias' fate serves as a reminder. While your thoughts and beliefs can be your own, outwardly blending in is often wiser. Show off your superiority too brazenly, and you'll find yourself ostracized. Whether it's the way you act or how much you earn, it's better to maintain a level of modesty in public to avoid unnecessary envy or disdain. Law #39. Stir up waters to catch fish. Just like setting a trap for an animal, when you stir up emotions and create chaos, people will react, often impulsively. Know your enemies well enough to predict their emotional responses, and you'll have control over them. Make them show their vulnerabilities by stirring the pot at the right moment. But beware of letting your own emotions get the best of you. Rage and desire can cloud judgment, making you an easy target for others to manipulate. Stay calm, avoid reacting impulsively, and never give your enemies the satisfaction of seeing you out of control. Law #40. Despise the free lunch. Louis XIV understood that nothing in life is truly free. He manipulated power dynamics by being generous to those who didn't like him, thus securing their loyalty. True generosity, when used strategically, brings significant returns. When you're offered something for free, be wary of the hidden costs. Giving someone a gift often comes with expectations, whether stated or not. Likewise, when you pay for something, especially for an opportunity to learn from someone influential, the return on investment can be far more valuable than the initial cost. Avoid being a miser and recognize the power of well-placed generosity. Law #41. Avoid stepping into a great man's shoes. Trying to outdo a legend is a dangerous path. Alexander the Great surpassed his father, Philip II of Macedon, but had any successor tried to follow in his footsteps, they would have been overshadowed by his immense legacy. The challenge of living up to a predecessor's greatness is that you are constantly compared to them, making it nearly impossible to establish your own identity. Instead of trying to outshine a legend, forge your own path. Create a new legacy that is uniquely yours, unburdened by the weight of someone else's achievements. Law #42. Strike the shepherd and the sheep will scatter. A group or organization is often held together by a few key individuals. Once you remove these critical leaders, the group is likely to fall apart. This principle applies in any power dynamic, from businesses to armies to political movements. The leader is the glue holding everything together. When they are taken out, either through physical removal or strategic undermining, the followers will lose direction and start to scatter. If you wish to dismantle a group, target its leader. Conversely, if you're leading, understand your importance and act accordingly to strengthen your position. Law #43. Work on the heart and mind of others. Marie Antoinette's failure to empathize with her subjects cost her dearly. Detached from the needs and opinions of the common people, she became a symbol of everything wrong with the monarchy, which led to her downfall. In contrast, if you want to succeed in power, influence, or leadership, it's essential to connect with others on an emotional level. Be relatable and show that you care. Dale Carnegie's advice to win friends and influence people rings true here. People respond to kindness and empathy. Work to win the hearts and minds of those around you, and your power will grow. Law #44. Disarm and infuriate with the mirror effect. Alcibiades charmed and manipulated by mirroring the values and attitudes of those around him. People naturally gravitate towards those who seem like them, who share their opinions, mannerisms, and lifestyle. When you reflect others, they feel validated, which disarms their defenses. You can use this strategy to win trust and gain influence. But be cautious. Overuse of this tactic can lead to resentment if people discover your true intentions. Like a mirror, reflect their desires back to them, and they'll feel more inclined to follow you. Law #45. Preach change, but never reform quickly. People resist change, especially if it's forced upon them too quickly. Sudden reforms, even if beneficial, cause fear and anxiety. Gradual, incremental change is more digestible. Slowly introduce new ideas or policies, giving people time to adapt without feeling overwhelmed. By proceeding with patience and moderation, you ensure that the changes are more lasting and less disruptive. Radical, overnight shifts breed dissent, but a slow, methodical approach ensures that people will follow without resistance. Law #46. Never appear too perfect. Perfection invites envy, and envy leads to resentment. La Rochefoucauld's wisdom emphasizes that it's often wise to conceal your talents and successes. If you appear flawless, people will either try to find cracks in your armor or create them. By displaying humility and even a few minor flaws, you make yourself more relatable and less threatening. Don't flaunt your abilities too openly. Modesty can often protect you from the dangers of envy and jealousy. Law #47. In victory, learn when to stop. Knowing when to stop after a victory is crucial. Pushing too far, over-celebrating, or continuing to press your advantage can provoke your enemies or lead to unintended consequences. Madame de Pompadour, mistress to Louis XV, knew when to accept her limitations and maintain her position without overreaching. Victory often contains the seeds of future defeat if you're not careful. Understand when you've achieved enough and withdraw gracefully before the tide turns against you. Law #48. Assume formlessness. The Spartans' downfall came because they were rigid, unwilling to adapt to changing circumstances. In contrast, Athens thrived through constant reform and evolution. The lesson here is that rigidity can lead to destruction, while flexibility and adaptability are key to survival. Bruce Lee's famous words, "Be water, my friend," encapsulate this philosophy perfectly. Like water, you must be able to change shape, adjust to your environment, and flow around obstacles. Formlessness